Yo, Grand Rising, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Why I Left Religion with Coach Renz. And today, we're going to talk about money. That's right, talk about some money. If you find me for the first time, we deconstruct religion for the most part. We also talk about other spiritual things. Today is Friday. All our conversations last for about 45 minutes, and then the remaining time frame usually goes into multiple different subject matters. But you're more than welcome. Thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you for everybody who shares the channel. It's been wonderful. It's been great. I really appreciate it. You've allowed, you've grown the channel. Thank you very much. I'm going to wait about 5 minutes to get people to get on. I get my cigar life together. Let me know who you are when you come on. Grand Rising Trauma. Bad boy number one on Trauma. Always good for starting some stuff. But we're definitely going to talk about some money today. Some money. And I want to go ahead and put something in the chat. When we do talk about the one of the best books for me, I don't know who we're here. What is it called? This is an amazing book that I want to make sure is on there. Grand Rising Brian W. Driving while listening. Well, yeah, I don't want you posting. You know, even with the talking text. After we talk about the spiritual aspect of money and the Bible and why and what the church gets completely wrong, there's a book that truly changed my financial life. And I want to share that book with you guys. If you've heard about it, I'm going to go ahead and post it in here now. I'll post it again later. But it is called, that's my Amazon link to it, But the Richest Man in Babylon is an amazing, amazing book. That's interesting. The YouTube link may not work. Let me get a smaller link. So that link didn't work for YouTube. Let me get the short link. Yeah, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That one was good. That's good as well. Like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad will be a good companion. I'm just saying, check my internet connection. Man said that me, Kevin West, and Jamar, Dan McClellan, all on a religious debunking stream. That would be pretty damn cool. That would be fun. Grand Rising Nikki, how you doing? Is everybody getting me well? Got me. Get me well, got me. Is everybody streaming okay? I got a couple of error messages on YouTube and Twitch real quick, but I guess Facebook is good. Oh, As you guys know, early in my life, one of the things that did I ever watch Jordan Maxwell lectures? Yes, I did. Oh, I used to be big time into like all those guys, all the motivational speakers, all the financial books. I was, uh, yeah, I got him. Some, we having internet problems, so I'm trying to make sure. So I know it's kind of getting messed up a little bit. But when I was coming up, y'all know my story. One of the first things that made me really start questioning the Bible, I was already questioning it, reading it, but one of the things that really made me bring it to the pastor's attention was when that joker told me that rich people go to hell. Because I grew up poor. But as I've grown up, studying the Bible, reading the Bible, there are a couple of things that I recognize. One of those things I recognize is that the Bible teaches that the culture and the Bible, especially the Old Testament, there's a complete theme of the more righteous a person is, the more wealth a person has. That their wealth is directly tied to their righteousness. All right? Grand Rising Sheila, Saran. And then, of course, the Jesus character, he doesn't take away from that, but also just includes that wealth is not the only thing that ties you into your righteousness. But he doesn't take it away either. So wealth is definitely tied into righteousness. And Christians always say, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. They always believe that if they're obedient to this God, that their money is going to overflow. That and the Bible, this book does tell you that. It does tell you that you give and your wealth will overflow. Many of the writers of some of these books, Jordan Maxwell, Napoleon Hill, Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins, Anthony Hopkins. You got it. Is it Hopkins? It's another dude, but Tony Hopkins. But all these guys, Zig Ziglar, all of them used to tell you that the more you give, the more you receive. Right? Grand Rising Debbie. And the difference between, say, your Tony Robbins and the pastor is, or even better, your T. Harv Eker. Your T. Harv Eker. He's the writer of the Millionaire Mindset. The difference between him and because he'll talk about giving, you got to give. The more you have a giving spirit. The difference is T. Harv Eker tells your ass how to get out there and get that work done. Tells you how to budget your money. Tells you how to invest. Whereas the church just wants you to invest in the church, in the pastor. But if they actually taught wealth in the Bible, now I've read a few books that do teach wealth in the Bible. There's a few I have read, right? And they're actually good. Now I don't like the guy, I forgot his name. He always telling you to save everything and pay for everything in cash. But that is the leading thing. That's the thing that got me. It's easy for a camel to go through an avenue than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, which I misunderstood when I was young. Didn't fully understand it until I was in Israel in 1991. Was it 90 or 91? 90, 91, I was in Israel. And that's when I actually, that's right, because it was February. We had just turned it. It was we did New Year's in Israel, and that's when I understood it. That it meant, not loving your possessions to the point where it makes you into a bad person, basically. But when you read when you actually look at the Bible, wealth is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. Abraham was rich. Lot was rich. David rich. Isaac, Jacob rich. Esau rich. Joseph becomes rich. Everybody got money. And even the Jesus character, he wasn't poor. No, he was a stonemason. He was a craftsman. He wasn't poor. Joseph, his daddy, wasn't poor. And they was in the line of David. They wouldn't have been poor, according to the story. He had enough money, according to Matthew, to just pick his family up and move to Egypt at the drop of a hat. Then move back. According to Luke, every year they made the pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Had money. But when you read this book, you read things like in Ecclesiastes. He tells you to do many businesses because you don't know which one is going to succeed. It does give you some instructions of measure twice and cut once. So you should, get you a good plan of what you're doing. Yeah, I gotta get this internet gotta get fixed. It's horrible. It's choppy. So we're gonna try to bear through it, hopefully. It amazes me that the actual things about money that the Bible does teach that would be beneficial to the people, the pastors won't tell them. Like when y'all was going to church, did they ever tell you do many businesses? Teach that out of Ecclesiastes. You said Verizon get you right. Oh, you know what? I just realized my microphone is way over there. Is that better? Sorry. Is that better, sir? Can you hear me now? Since you're talking about Verizon. Can you hear me now? All right, Dwayne. You good? Oh, that was Dwayne who said you can't talk up. So, I mean, how many of y'all have been in churches when y'all used to go to church? Did they teach you how to build wealth? I was only in one church. It was a Methodist church that they actually utilized the Bible to teach people how to build wealth. But the main reason is that the pastor over that church was a financial advisor. He was by trade, by education, he was a financial advisor. So of course he had interest in that. Now he had worked in that field for like 20 years. And he's one of those pastors that I talk to every now and then because he feels trapped by the church because all his finances are tied into the Methodist Church. To the topic, they are supposed to be communists, so everyone is supposed to be equal in wealth. What makes you say that? I'm curious as to why you would say that. What aspect of Christianity would demonstrate that? Because they have varying positions within their grouping. We know Martha had a little scratch, Jesus had some scratch. Peter had multiple boats. Matthew's supposed to be a tax collector, and tax collectors ain't broken in ancient world. They had money. Now, the majority of the people that they went to were poor. And here's the thing. If you want to, the way that you build a church is you find poor people and sell them on hope. Find you some poor people, sell them on hope, build up a couple of them as examples of what that hope can do. And then you'll start to attract your higher income people and you're good to go. And then you start making that money. But you're going to make some money off the poor people too. But if you want to build a church, start with some poor people. If they are true Christians living in the days of tribulation, they will be selling all their possessions as the Son of Man is to return at any moment. David, you crazy. Let me post that up there what David said. I forgot I'm supposed to be posting these up here. Now, that is the part of the rich young ruler when he told him to sell all your possessions and follow me. And he had told all the disciples, and maybe that's what David knew. Maybe that's what Javier is talking about when he was telling them to sell all your possessions. But nope, he's talking about something else. But you're right, they should be, and they shouldn't be given to marriage either, and they shouldn't be having sex, procreating. They should be just focused on this God coming back. But it's been 2,000 years. It's a church and a liquor store, right? Yeah, it was. There was a liquor store across the street from one of the churches I was at. Oh yeah, got to invent a savior. Okay, and to all those who believe were together and had all things in common, and they began selling their property and possessions, and they were sharing them with all, as anyone might have. You know what? There is that one in Acts. You're absolutely right. And there's another. Is that the part where they tell the dude somebody sold some land, but they didn't share it with everybody? Is that part of that story? For there was a needy person among them, for all who were the owners of the land and the house would sell them and bring them to the proceeds in the same, and lay them at the apostles' feet, and they would be distributed to each as they had need. True. The Gospels really don't teach that type of mentality, but the book of Acts and all the other Pauline style of Christianity does teach that type of thing, which is one of those arguments that many people have in Christianity, the difference between the Jesus teachings and the Pauline teachings, which most churches today kind of have a mixture of the two. But you are right. According to those parts of Acts, they are supposed to be, 1960s community kind of people. But when you look at the whole of the Bible, they're also supposed to be wealthy and making money. But they don't. Grand Rising Diana. You see, there was a once upon a time that I had some people. This is when I was in the church, y'all. They wanted me to become a pastor, and they wanted me to become the pastor of this particular church. And I told them that y'all don't want me to be the pastor, because if I become the pastor, one, I'm going to teach a bunch of true historical things, and y'all ain't gonna like it because it goes against the Baptist Association. But one of the things that I told them that actually made them mad, because at first it was like, oh yeah, we want the true history. I told them, I'm gonna teach everybody how to get rich in this church. There's too many. We're across the street is projects. If we ain't teaching these people how to get out these projects, then what are we doing? If we're not, having an educational program in finances every week, like if you got damn Bible study, we got financial studies every week. In church, we are building the people who got businesses, we're gonna build those businesses, and they're gonna hire the people at this church and hire the people in them projects across the street. Like, that's what we're gonna be about. Oh, you too much about the world. You too much about the world. That's what they told me. That's why they told me that. Now they changed their mind. You too much about the world and money. You too focused on money. Money makes the world go round. Money makes things happen. This man once said to me, he's asked me, he said, this is when I was the sales manager at New Horizons Computer Learning Center. He said, can money buy you happiness? I said, yes. But in the event that it couldn't, I'll be miserable in a much nicer place. That man just looked at me. And actually, that was the question that got me the job as a sales manager, is when he asked me that. He said, can money, we went over everything. He said, can money buy you happiness? That's what I told him. It's not something, most people's like, no, well, money can't buy you happiness, but, happiness is something from within, and and all this bullshit. No, yeah, money can buy me some happiness, buy me a whole lot of happiness. But if I'm not happy, I'm going to be miserable in a real nice place. A real nice place. All right. Grand Rising Gregory, you are more than welcome. Why go to Bible study when you can go to financial study? You should. Remember, the gospel message was to go out, only 40 years to gathering the lost sheep of Israel, and then the end of the world will come. By Paul's admission, in the gospel was taught, and every lost sheep was sealed. Exactly, David. So, who we talking about? So Javier, although yes, that is what the Bible say, but when we look at the time frame, there was an expectation. The only reason they had that mentality is because there was an expectation. That's what I was getting to before I got sidetracked myself with the Paulinian thing. Paul expected the world to end. All of them, though, really expected the world to end before, because Jesus said, this generation will not pass before I return. So they thought it's going to be over in 40 years. So there was no need to gain wealth. There was no need to focus on that sort of thing, because they weren't going to be there. It wouldn't matter. But I really like some of them 20-year-olds, and after 40 years not passed, and now they broke. I wonder how they felt. To help people. You too much about the world. Yeah, that was the thing. I wanted to get people out of projects, and Marietta, the city of Marietta, had a wonderful program going on at that time frame with Habitat for Humanity. And I was like, we got to jump on this. We got to help these people across the street get into houses, because there was also a plan to get rid of all the projects in Marietta. That's what they was doing with Habitat for Humanity. And I was like, we got to get them involved. We got to be involved. And yes, Reverend Ike was one of the only people preaching esoteric knowledge. Didn't Jesus already come back in the Bible? That's what they thought. That's what some people actually teach, that he's already come back. But if this is 1,000-year reign, it's a problem. It ain't good. Damn it, I had a train of thought and I just lost it. I had a train of thought and I lost it that damn fast. That's because y'all be throwing so much stuff at me. But yeah, I've always had a problem with the church just teaching hope and not teaching a process for people to go out and get it done. Right. So, no, Stacy. Jesus is supposed to be coming back. Jesus is the Christ. First of all, according to this book, Jesus is the Christ. And in Revelation, no, Jesus is supposed to be coming back. And in the Gospels, he said that he would come back. He didn't say that the Christ would come back or the Christ mind or something. He said he was coming back. Where did the 1,000-year reign come from? So in the book of Revelation, when Jesus comes back down to earth, he's supposed to chain up the devil and all this stuff. And then there's supposed to be this 1,000-year reign. And then at the end of the 1,000-year reign on earth, then there's supposed to be the Battle of Megiddo. And that's the final battle. And then everything is over and it's heaven. It comes back every spring at the spring equinox, sure does. And then he dies every year, 3 days before Christmas, near the southern Crux constellation. And yes, hope is for beggars. We need to declare it in ourselves, not hope. And here's the thing of beyond declaring, baby, is we got to put forth the action. You got to put forth the action. If there's no action, you can declare stuff all day long and ain't shit gonna happen. Yep, they say you're gonna come back, kill all the unbelievers, then resurrect them, and then send them into hell. Yeah, it's, by all accounts, he is a zombie since the body resurrected still had the holes in it, in the hands and the feet. So, yeah, he's a zombie. Grand Rising Danita. Well, y'all be quick. I was trying to hit this one. In the Isaiah prophecy, the Messiah was supposed to come, then be cut off, and then return. Right. The Isaiah prophecy says that, and that's what Revelation teaches. That's what John and Matthew and teaches. He's supposed to come back. Matter of fact, let's see. John 14. Let's take a peek real quick. Look, we're going to be talking about money. We're supposed to be talking about money. I can't ever talk about what I want to talk about because y'all always changing the subject. So John 14 starts out and says, do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, I would not have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you may also be where I am. So he will come back. All right, we're gonna get back to the goddamn old subject. Easy, poor. Because it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of needle than it is for a rich man in the kingdom of heaven. So if you are dumb enough to believe in that fairy tale, then you shouldn't. Okay, so Grand Rising Herb. I don't know if you've ever been here before, but that was a big thing for me back in the day. Then I realized when I went to Israel that the eye of a needle was this doorway in the wall, and it was huge. It was like 6 foot high, 8 foot. I mean, it was about 6 foot wide, about 8 foot high. And I had just saw a camel a couple of weeks prior to that because one had stepped on my tent in the middle of the night and woke my ass up. So I knew what a camel looked like. Then I met this guy. He was one of the curators at the museum in Tel Aviv, and he was telling me that because he saw me going back and forth through the gate, and he was like, "Just figured out what an eye of a needle is, huh?" And he explained to me how you had to be the rich young ruler had a problem with taking off and giving up all his stuff. That he loved his stuff so much that it prevented him from having a spiritual heart. And that's what he was trying to say, that rich people love their stuff and their possessions and their power so much so that they have a difficulty getting into heaven. But the poor people, they don't have that stuff, is how you would think about it. But I would submit to you, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, poor people love their stuff more than rich people. Poor people love stuff more than rich people. Who spends more money on some tennis shoes? Give a poor person some money and they'll go buy a car. The crash in the housing market in 2008, 2010, was poor people or middle income people buying houses that they knew they couldn't goddamn afford. They do work harder. They just don't work smarter. And I'm not going to say they work harder, because let me tell you something. Yeah, my employees they wound up working more than me, but they weren't there for those first, 5-6 years that I worked every day, all day. So I'm not even going for that bullshit. I deserved it. I deserved it. You see, rich people are greedy. I would say poor people are equally greedy. Equally greedy. Because I've seen poor people fight over material things in the same way I see rich people fight over business. Who gets mad when somebody steps on their shoes? Who starts fights? I remember the so-called poor kids in school and had $300 Jordans from a single mom. Poor people need their stuff more because the rich people need the poor people to buy their stuff. Of course, rich people, I think rich people in order to be successful at selling something that that if you want to sell it to the masses, you have to be able to create a false value to people who really can't afford or should not be buying your product. I'm just saying. And I'm not mad at the rich person for doing that. I'm mad at the poor person for falling for it. And you goddamn see, Gregory know what I'm talking about. I just spent the last, 11, 12 years working almost every day, working 12, 14 hours a day. I don't hear shit about it. Poor people work harder. They may do more physical work, but I don't hear that shit. It is due to the lack of financial literacy. Yeah, and this be poor and humble is some bullshit. But as much as rich people can only be rich if poor people are just as greedy as they are. But rich people count on poor people being just as greedy. It's the holiday season. 30% of most companies' revenue is generated right now. The success and failure of most companies is determined right now. They're counting on people spending more money than they have. You know why most companies don't make that much money in February? because February is when most people get their credit card or bank. That's when card statements or the financial hit of Christmas of the holiday season hit them is at the end of January, 1st of February. That's why I like January, the end of January, first part of February, nobody makes money. You don't make that much money. Terrence, I ain't going for that bullshit. Now, Dwayne, he already got a little bit of this. So when I met with him when I was in Wilmington, so now you about to get some of this, Terrence, because you know I'm easier on women. But Terrence, Dwayne Howard, he understands where I'm about to go with this. Terrence, you on that bullshit. Terrence, you on that bullshit right now. Poor people got time to watch television. They got time to be on the internet. They got time to go to the club. They got time to go to the barbecue. They got time to hang out with their friends. They got time for a whole bunch of other shit. They got time to learn about finances. They got time to learn about finance because they got time for all that other bullshit. They got time to go to church. They got time to go to Bible study. They got time to stay for a second service. They got time to cook. So hell no, Terrence. I ain't going for that bullshit. We make excuses for poor people because we feel like they're defenseless. They're only defenseless because they choose to be defenseless. So you my guy, Terrence. You my guy. You one of my guys. Love you like a brother. But you on that bullshit right now. That's that bullshit. They got time. Everybody got time. Because you always demonstrate that you got time for whatever is important to you. Whatever is important to you. Let me give you a perfect example. My mom, when we was poor, she worked 2.5 jobs. She worked 2 full-time jobs during the week. She worked a part-time job on the weekend. But I'd be damned if every Friday she didn't go to the Elks Club, the Elks Lodge for their dance, and then for their partying on Friday night, and sometime on Saturday night as well. She had time. She had time for that. She was gonna have her some fun. I ain't mad at her. I'm just saying this is an example. A person working 2.5 jobs still had time for that. And she still had time to come to our school stuff. She had time to. She couldn't cook. My mom just can't cook. She made time for what was important to her, which her 3 kids were something that was important to her. I was taught by my parents that there is no point in being ambitious because Jesus is coming in the clouds soon. And I've heard that one so many times from people as well. Grand Rising Donald, Grand Rising Marcus. Yeah, and that's the thing. The Abrahamic religions are very capitalistic. They're incredibly capitalistic. Gosh, this family text is getting on my nerves. But they're incredibly capitalistic religion. That's what Brian B said. And that's my point, though. The religion itself is capitalistic, but they don't teach capitalism to the people. So why not? That's what I wanted to do when they wanted me to be a pastor. I was like, okay, I'm teaching capitalism this joke. That's why it's called Black Friday. It's the only time of the year when companies are running in the black and not in the red. Poor folks with no surface level understanding of finances are a danger to themselves. It is the main reason that financial literacy is the most important thing today. This is true, but there's something I'm going to say about the financial literacy. Let me see. Let me make sure before I get there. Watch yourself, Marcus. Watch yourself now. I'm not going to preach, But I'm gonna do some preaching today. All right. So said Jesus been gone way too long. He got lost. So here's the thing. Now, a few times people saying we're not being taught financial literacy. We're not being taught financial literacy. Let me ask y'all a question. Once you've been an adult for a few years, or on your own, that's what you ain't an adult until you out there on your own doing it yourself, right? Do you really need somebody to come and tell you stop spending more money than you make? I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying. Do you really need somebody? I mean, come and teach you about bonds and stocks and investments and everything. That's cool. Thank you, Orion. Appreciate it. I always got to show love when people do that. Wasn't asking for it, but I always appreciate it when people do it. You put a statement with it, man. Like, because if you put a question or something like that with one of those, I'm definitely going to answer your question. Just out of respect, though, because I do appreciate it, because it's something I never asked for. But yeah, self-discipline. Ecclesiastes, do many businesses because you don't know which one will succeed. The fact that in the stories with people like, I was about to say Lot, but it's not Lot. What's that man's name? What is that man's name? Jacob. When they wanted to separate the cattle, and he devised up his magic plan with the sticks. Abraham being able to, becoming wealthy, even though he pimped out his wife, and prostituted her a couple times to do it. It's a system of making money. Like everybody, if you look at all the patriarchs, all of them became wealthy somehow. Even Joseph, when he became with the Pharaoh, he set his family up to get the Pharaoh's cattle so that they can become wealthy. It's all up in there. The only time that part in Acts is the only thing about sharing all your stuff. But that is because they thought the world was coming to an end. What happened to the debt jubilee? Yeah, that's only for the Israelite. That ain't for everybody else. Now, Sheila, you said that you realize, I realize that for a lot of poor people, their depression and mental health issues keep them bound. Just saying, many don't feel it matters. No belief it will matter. But they keep, and I get it. When you're born into poverty, and then all you see is everybody is just working to survive, and have as much fun as they possibly can. It's easy to develop that type of mentality as well, because when I first went to the Marine Corps and I'm on my own, I had that mentality up to a certain degree. I had conflicting mentalities. Like I wanted to be rich because it was some bullshit. And my grandfather had started a company, when I was like 12. And I saw him bootlegging, I saw hustling, but I didn't know how to balance a checkbook when I went to the Marine Corps. I didn't know that you had to pay deposits on stuff. So there was a lot of things I didn't know and I had to learn. And I got into some serious ass debt. I mean, I was like, it was serious for me back then. I was 112% over. And then I had that calling card while I was away, and I'm blowing that calling card up, calling my grandmother every time we pulled into port. You know, and although $1,200 calling card debt, and you only make $1,800 a month, that was a lot of money, right? But I can't accept that they have no options, no out, that you know, that they allow themselves to get into such a deep depression that they just accept the pain. And then these churches just selling them hope instead of, let me grant you what you're saying, but then the church just sell them hope. Just tithe your money, and you're going to get out of this situation. And I've watched people who consistently go to church from as early as I can remember them until the time that they died, and they still lived in poverty or in the projects. Some members of my own family. And you watch my uncle build a construction company. You watch my dad build a window, door, and insulation company. Like, they knew him better than I did when I was growing up. And they knew this, like, this is your brother, this is your, you know, cousin of the same age. You watch them do but you just sit up here hoping. Mm-mm. I can't do it. But it doesn't take some high level of understanding to know you don't spend more money than you make. Man, I love that show, Billions. And you're right. And they keep teaching this hope bullshit in these prosperity teachings. Yet, and then they'll have the person to come up, oh, but once a year we have a business symposium. Once a year they have a financial literacy class. You can ask for them tithes every goddamn week, but you can't talk about financial literacy every week, or at least once a week, once a month, at least once a month, something. So you get the Ecclesiastes reference. Okay, but what is capitalism? Really? I mean, there are people who are against capitalism, but if I ask them what is capitalism, they have a hard time describing it. They just think about the greed portion of it. But what is capitalism in your words, Javier? Define poverty, mental poverty, and mental wealth. Now, if we're talking about poverty as far as lifestyle, poverty is living at a certain level below the norm of any particular society or group to which you live in, which is going to be different based on where you are. Mental poverty is just a demented morals and standard and self-assessment, regardless, and it has nothing to do with how much money you have, because there are people who live in mental poverty, but they're wealthy as hell, right? Mental wealth is no matter what your surroundings are, mentally you are healthy, mentally you derive pleasure, and you get your primary needs met. Consistency, surprise, value to the community that you provide, value that the community provides back to you. That is mental wealth. Oh, and Grand Rising Melba. And I believe this is your first time here, so thank you for joining us. Grand Rising Libra lady. Oh, I fell way behind. Yeah, capitalism is supposed to be just a free market for people to be able to make money. The governments role in it is just to maintain fairness in it. But we know that doesn't always happen either, because the higher end capitalists will pay for their preferences to be met. Right. And that's what it's about: corporate interest and political interest. When the kids see folks work hard and have nothing and know they can take 60 seconds and make 10 times that, the morals and educational motivations of life consequences go out the window. Now, we do have to recognize that we got to change. We have to constantly change with the times of things. I grew up, as many of you, during the era of, well, in between two eras. It was the era of work for the company, stay with the company for 60 years, get the retirement package, the gold watch, buy your house early in life and live in that house for the rest of your life. That generation. And then it was the go to college, get the degree, go to college, get the degree. Everybody need to go to college and get the degree. But then as we all started going to college changed and became a business. And then companies changed and stopped taking care of people and keeping people for company loyalty went away. So when I got out the Marine Corps, it was like, there's no such thing as company loyalty anymore. I was like, what? That's what I grew up believing. And then it was also the era of everybody got to be an entrepreneur. So it was all a big mixed ass bag, especially by the time we get to the year 2000. And now it's just, hell, I don't even know what it is now. It's make money however you can make money, but make it smart. Be smart about it. Continue to move with the trends, because the trends keep changing. The trends change faster now than they ever did before. Right. I grew up with Reaganomics as well. But there are certain facts that has always been constant that people just don't, that the church won't teach. And that it doesn't take this huge amount of financial literacy. She says it's too fucking much. I just want to be a housewife and that's it. I don't want to work. I want to go to work every day. There's this one girl did a TikTok video about that, where she was talking about how she got tricked into wanting to be this big career woman. She was like, wanting to go to work. She was like, fuck work. I don't want to work. I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to work either. But I want to make money. I got to make money. I have to. One, as a man, you have to make money. But I think I would be an amazing trust fund kid. I would. I'd be a great trust fund kid, right? Or no disrespect to Angelina, so don't get mad at me, Angie. I would be a good. What do you call it? What would you call that? I don't know. Kept man. I'd be amazing kept man. That's why I've been an entrepreneur for so long, because I'm a horrible employee. I am a horrible employee. If I start working for you, I'm already trying to change how your company functions. All right. I'm just saying, I would be. Now, people embrace mental wealth while seemingly living in poverty. How do they elevate the mind and reality to bring forth prosperity? If their mind feel that they are wealthy, yet they appear destitute in all markers of generational wealth. Oh, that is a very, very, very good statement, Melba. Oh, that's the second person in my life I've ever known named Melba. And that is the saddest part of some people who are mentally wealthy, but yet they are living in poverty. There's not that ambition part to go out and do more. Now, what I do find with those people is that financially, for their level, they're not wanting for much. They're satisfied with the life that they have. They are not in debt. That's those people that live in a lower income area. But that joker got they not it might have taken them 10 years to save up $10,000, but they got $10,000 sitting in their bank account at all times, kind of people. Because they understand basic financial literacy. Don't spend more than you make. Save 10% of what you earn. They have some of those basic understandings, which is one of the reasons why they have mental wealth, is because they're not constantly struggling. Now, somebody is destitute, they're not going to be in good mental wealth. They're going to be stressed like a champ. Boy, did you know more women own business in Saudi Arabia? I think you meant than America. But then I have to be Muslim. The person I have become wouldn't hire myself. Yeah, I wouldn't hire me either, because I would get on my own damn nerves. Hold on. I live week by week. I have exactly $149 of debt, which is just unpaid power. I'm not struggling. That's great. You shouldn't. You're not supposed to struggle. If you just have basic financial literacy, you should not be struggling every month. And basic financial literacy doesn't require you making a whole bunch of money, right? Oh, you mean you have 149? Wait a minute. I should mention I have $149 to my name, and it's not going to the bill yet. Oh, I'm gonna tell you, the only time that you can have basic financial literacy and still kind of struggle is when you are an entrepreneur, when you work for yourself, because shit go up and down. But even at that, there's a time frame where you'll be able to get your shit together. Like, you vacillate back and forth. Like, man, if y'all look at a graph of my credit score over, say, like the last 10 years, that thing is it looked like a mountain range. This is just how it looks. And Brian W. said, I love taxes. The taxes for the wealthy folks was a lot higher, and where those taxes were spent were where the poor people were at. Neighborhood medical clinics, Section 8 style housing, food resources, okay, all programs. Wealth had to choose tax for the write-off and penalties. They stuff big profits in their own pockets while writing off toys, and the entire economy has struggled ever since. That was under the Reaganomic programs. Yeah, it did. Whose fault is that? Now, one of the things I would always say is, why allow the tax codes are out there? What's stopping lower income people from using those same tax codes? And working for yourself is a risk worth taking. Like, what's stopping everybody on here from forming an LLC? I don't know how it is in South Africa, Brian B., but forming an LLC. Let that LLC be a service-based business, and then using the tax code to not pay as much in taxes from your W-4 job. Everybody can do it. And yes, Brian B., it takes education. But there's enough people on YouTube and Twitch, Facebook, TikTok that's giving that information for free. I don't understand why they do it for free, but they give a certain amount of it for free. There's enough people out there doing it, telling you can do it. People are scared. That's one thing. I find people are so afraid of the tax code They think that IRS is just lurking around trying to put everybody in jail. In my opinion, society is a robber. No way. I only use $26 worth of electricity, and my bill is $58 after taxes and custom charges. How in the hell are you getting away with only using $26 worth of electricity? I ain't never had where you live, Melville? I ain't never had an electric bill that was 26. Even back in 1990, my electric bill was more than $26. And I was living in a trailer in 1990 for 6 months before I got base housing. How in the hell? I want to know how that miracle happened. Shit, I just got my electric bill for this house and it's $354. Same here. Okay, so you got the same umbrella type things going in South Africa? All right. That's right. I remember that, Terrence. You're a train conductor and hate that my time gets taken away from me to focus on my own business. Oh, yeah, that's right. Didn't we talk about tax lien properties? Because aren't you like in Indiana somewhere, or Gary, Indiana, somewhere like that? Didn't we talk about tax lien properties? And if we did, have you bought one yet? Because I don't have patience for dudes. Okay, I ain't got patience for dudes, Terrence. So get off your ass and get it done. About that bullshit. If you was a woman, I'd be like, come on now, let's get it done. Nah, bro. Illinois, I'm not home much and I don't watch TV much. I only watch. Okay. Oh, so you mean, ooh, okay, I got you. I'm just wondering, like, how is that possible? Hold on. You have to have capital before you can buy into the program. Wait, in order for them to invest in your LLC, you have to have some capital to begin with, and they have to be able to make a percentage of your profit. If you can't agree, they won't invest, and now your loan rates are through the roof. No, Brian. I'm not saying you should build an LLC and actually go out and try to make money off your LLC. No, you filed $100 in the state that it costs to get an LLC. Well, I know in the state of Georgia, it's $100 to get an LLC. Once you get that LLC, and let's say, Brian, you want to go, you do one I don't know, you're an electrician. You start an electrician business. You want to go to California, you want to go to San Diego for vacation. You and your wife go down to San Diego for vacation. You should make sure that there's some opportunity for you to bid on a contract down there. You bid on that contract. Let's say the contract truly is like a $5,000 contract, but you bid $10,000 on the contract. You're not going to get it, but because you bid on that contract, you can now write that vacation off. Make your wife one of the share owners in the business so that it's also there. Or y'all just go to San Diego for your annual corporate shareholders meeting, and y'all just talk about the business while y'all there. Take down the minutes of what y'all talked about as far as the growth and the ideas of the business. And now that whole thing is a write-off. So that whole vacation is a write-off. So now you get even more tax deduction. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about trying to actually run a business. I had one dude, let me shut up right there. But I ain't talking about actually running the business. I'm just talking about using the LLC in order to get the tax deductions off of your job that you're already paying taxes on. Oh, Slaughter, you're in Fort Wayne. Okay, my bad. Yeah, save all your receipts. Okay, you're in Section 8, and I know you're in Dallas. Man, that electric bill should be high in Dallas in the summer. Right, not Gary, Fort Wayne. I'm just clicking on the wrong damn things. Yep. Save your receipts. Oh, you're from Gary. Got it. From Gary. I knew Gary, Indiana was in there somehow. But no, you see, that's using the tax code. Now you ain't gonna be able to use the benefit of buying toys and using those as tax write-off because you ain't making that kind of money. But there are ways so that the money that you are making, and maybe you paid $7,000 or $10,000 into taxes, but if you got an LLC that you can write a bunch of deductions off, you can get most, if not all, of that money back. Therefore, you're not paying taxes. You're getting pretty much your full check minus Social Security and some of the state taxes if you have state taxes. It's perfectly legal if you do it the right way. But poor people are afraid. Middle income people are afraid. And some of your upper middle class people are afraid. And so they won't do it. Makes no. So, and okay, maybe you don't do that. But like people sometimes ask, what's all this shit up here on my walls, right? And like one of them is my budget plans, the 70-10-10-10 budget plan. Another one is Cures for a Lean Bank Account, some basic understanding of finances, and then the 5 laws of money, which one of my laws fell down. Let's see it. But if you follow these basic concepts, which is, I posted all of those are in the book. Well, the 70-10-10-10 is not, but the other 2, 7 Cures for a Lean Bank Account, 5 Laws of Money, those are in a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. Let me post that one up here again, the link, the Amazon link to it. But The Richest Man in Babylon it's multiple stories, very short, and it teaches basic finances, just basic, basic. Like 7 Cures for a Lean Person. Number 1, keep 10% of what you earn. That ain't hard. Keep 10. So people are giving 10% to the church, but it's telling you to keep 10% of what you earn. So even if you want to give 10% to charity, then another 10% you keep for yourself. That means that 80%, now you got 80% left over. Now, in my budget plan, you would take another 10% and you would use that to invest into something that makes money. So now you got 70%. So you should never be living on more than 70% of what you make. When you are living on more than 70%, you open yourself up. So you should have 10% in savings, 10% in investing. Now, other people can do 10% into church and whatever they want to do. I'm leaving that. I use another 10% for entertainment. Then never live on more than 70%. The 70% is for all your necessities. But 10% of what you earn is for you. Control your expenses. Stop spending more money than you earn. Invest the 10% that you save, even though that's number 4 is a fool and his money are easily separated. That means that you gotta understand what you're investing in. Otherwise, your money will be taken from you, or you're gonna lose it. Impossible games empty your wallet. That's number 5. If you're looking to make money overnight, hell no. No, it takes time to build wealth, right? You can't invest. Like I had people who wanted to invest in a cigar lounge, and they wanted to start getting paid on their investment within 90 days. I told them they can kick rocks because you don't understand business. If we're going to do this, then I only wanted investors who wanted to take it out of the lounge and make it into a bar restaurant level. So you looking for quick gains, and then they wanted at the rate that they wanted impossible gains. I'm like, no, and starting in 90 days, no, you're crazy. Ensure future income. So you got to have some long-term investments. And then number 7 is increase your ability to earn, which is one of the things that most people won't do, is increase their value to the marketplace, right? And that could be in anything that you do. For instance, how can I increase my value to the marketplace in the fact that this is now what I'm doing full time? Well, this ain't the only thing I'm doing full time. This is the primary. I'm still doing cigars, but just doing it differently. And one of those ways of increasing my value to the marketplace is to finish the book that I'm writing and write some more books. That increases my value. Doing the lives Monday through Friday, as long as my schedule permit, that increases it. Next Wednesday, next Wednesday, I'm going on somebody else's show. He has a small channel, but it doesn't matter that it's small. But collaborating with other people increases the value. Studying more books, studying more concepts, that increases the value. Because the more I know, it increases my value. So you see what I'm saying? So you got to increase your value no matter what you're doing. You got to increase your value to the marketplace. So just those simple things. From The Richest Man in Babylon. What did Quinn? What did he say? And I like this part. Well, no, you don't necessarily need capital if you have a good product or a skill like artistry to sell, or a product and a skill, the capital. Well, you don't necessarily need capital, too much capital to get started, but you're going to have to be savvy in your marketing to make sure that people know that you exist. I was checking out this documentary on Black people moving back south to take control of states. What's the documentary? That would be interesting because I wonder if it's about this one group that I've seen. Today's discussion is it's about money really. Should believers in the Bible look to become wealthy, but how they're tricking them into staying poor? And this is one of the ways that you don't get rich by giving to the pastors. You certainly do not. I mean, think about it. You giving to the pastor has absolutely nothing to do with your work ethic on your job. You giving to the pastor has absolutely nothing to do with you becoming more educated in your field of work. You giving to the pastor has nothing to do with your savings account. You giving to the pastor has nothing. How many people were giving to the pastor but invested in Enron and lost all their money? Giving to the pastor didn't make any difference. Giving to a church or a pastor doesn't make any difference whatsoever. And even for all those people talking about the more you give, the more it comes back to you, that giving it. Okay, look, I'm gonna be honest. You ain't got to give shit to nobody. You ain't got to give to no charity. You don't have to give to any church, to nothing. You could be Scrooge McDuck like a champ, and you can still get rich. You can still make money. Making money is about what you do with the money that you have and the skill sets that you have. Right. And while you giving to the pastor, the only thing that happens is the pastor get rich. Is that what the movie The Banker is about? Oh, the movie The Banker. I want to see that. That is a movie that I plan on seeing, but I don't know what platform it is. I think every time I look it up, they always want you to pay for it. And I'm like, no, I'm already paying for Prime. I ain't paying for that. I gotta really, really want to watch something to say, okay, then especially when they be talking about $20. No, I can go to the drive-in and have a whole experience for $20 of the movies, top down, cigar smoking, food, Angelina over there, and have a whole experience for $20 instead of renting it. No. And y'all know I love movies. No, I love going to the movies. Grand Rising Brandon, how you doing? But I wanted finances are very important to me, right? And like over the next year or two, it's going to become even more so important because of the plan that Angelina and I have as far as our living situation, um, our goals for creating income. So it's very important. And one of the things that you have to be willing to do is that you have to be willing to sacrifice something in order to get somewhere. Sometimes you got to take steps back. You got to downsize, right? That's one thing that hurts people is that they're afraid to downsize temporarily in order to upsize to what they really want or to go get what they really want, you know? I mean, how many people are willing to move to a smaller place temporarily in order to save the money to then do what to build the business or in our case to buy the RV? How many people are willing to do that? Not many. Not many. How many people are willing to sacrifice? Okay, yeah, usually we take a couple of vacations a year. We do a couple of this, couple of that. How many people are willing to say that, we're going to reorganize how much we expend on entertainment. We're going to figure out ways to save. We're going to clip some coupons or whatever we got to do in order to save money to to change this part of our lives. Like people who are living and say, I want to buy a house. And then I look at their lifestyle and I'm like, okay, in order for you to buy a house, your credit score at minimum has to be 580. But at 580, you're going to have to put 5% down on a house. If you wanted a house that's $200,000, that's $10,000 that you got to be able to put down, right? Yeah, $10,000 that you got to be able to put down. Currently, you have nothing in savings, and you don't have a budget that allows you to save. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to be able to save that $10,000? And what are you willing to do to get your credit score up? Now, if you don't want to pay 5% down or want to pay 3.5% down, then you need to get your credit score up to 620. And then, or are you looking to get a down payment loan and have a mortgage? You still gonna need your credit score up, most likely around 680 to do that. So, are you willing to clip them coupons? Are you willing to save that money? What are you willing to do to get there? And I find that most people aren't willing to do it. And it's like there's a saying in finances, if you don't have the ability to save, then the ability to become rich is not within you. It's not. It's just not in there. You have to develop that ability to save. I don't care if you're saving $25 a pay period. Start out somewhere. Giving money to church and the pastors make no difference in the bills. Like when you pay your tithes. Right, it doesn't. It makes no difference. Oh, I meant to hit this as well. South to Black Power is an HBO documentary. Okay. I know my brain. Let me write that down. Is this based on a religious group? Terrence? Because I know there's one here in Georgia, but it's based on a religious group. And that's why I don't think it's going to work. I've only been in one church, where the pastor said, if you can't give 10% to yourself first, don't give it to the church. I've only been in one church where a pastor was saying that. Okay, so it's not based on a religious group. Good. Terry, I'm telling you right now, Grand Rising Terry, I'm telling you this right now. I'm stealing that. Sometimes the price for life is sacrifice. Exactly. Look, I had this moment last night. So me and Angelina are going to downsize so we can save this 20% that we have to save in order to buy an RV. Did you know that? Did you know you got to put 20% down for an RV? Did y'all know that? 20% goddamn damn for an RV. Whew. And y'all know I'm bougie. So it's not going to be a pull behind. It's got to be a Class A 44, 45 foot RV. Right? So we got to save a lot of money. So I had to go up and down the stairs a bunch of times yesterday. And going up and down these stairs, I realized the size of this house. And I was like, man, we finna downsize. Although I'm happy not to have all them stairs, sometimes the space is nice to have all the space. And we about to downsize. So I had a moment. But then I thought about why we're downsizing. And it makes sense. You know, it's something you just have to do. You got to sacrifice that. Look, man, there you say $200,000 for a house where in Washington you're looking closer to. Well, and that is how the housing market is. It ain't low, but there are some places where you can still get a decent house, like in Texas, out in the middle of, you know, outside, way outside the cities, you can get a decent house for $200,000. It's all gonna be depending on where you are, but it was just easy. It was for math purposes. See, that's not actually true according to the Bible. Well, you're yes and no. Tithe isn't supposed to go to the church. It's supposed to go. You're supposed to go to the Levites, and that was supposed to be forever. And that's been converted over into the priest. So the pastors are claiming that to be the pastors that are grafted in. See, that whole grafting in the Gentiles is how they connect themselves to the priest line of Aaron and to the Levites, right? But as far as it not being money, that's not true. We read in Numbers. We just read in Numbers on Tuesday when one of that it was talking about the tithe, and it said you're supposed to give. Well, it talked about giving shekels. So sometimes their offerings are shekels, is money. But you are right. You can find other ones where the tithe is some animals or some grain. And why do they pull 10% from the Old Testament and don't stone these people? Because that part's illegal, stoning people. Did the majority of the wealth achieve wealth by faith or by wickedness? Nobody could actually answer that question because you wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to truly answer that question. It's nice to think that everybody who's rich acquired it because they were wicked, right? Where this is being broadcast on the platform you're on right now, most really is Facebook. Can you really say that? What's the boy who started Facebook? Zuckerberg. That when he first started Facebook, it was out of wickedness. That he had some wicked plan that he even intended plan for Facebook to become what it became. He had no intentions. He didn't think it was going to become what it became. These things just started happening when those first people invested in him and in Facebook after they had grown and all these colleges were attached to it. It just happened. When they was in a small house in California running Facebook, they were just trying to build it. Now, of course, everybody who's become rich, there's always people who say that they had to have done something evil to do it. That is the mindset of most people. You have to do evil shit in order to become wealthy. No, you know. So one of my investors when I had a gym, well, I say one of my investors, he was my only investor. My investor when I had the gym went back to school in his 40s, got his degree in accounting, started working for a small investment firm, invested his money along with the investment firm. And by the time I'm meeting him and training him and his wife, he's $15 million liquid. What did he do that was wicked? What did he do that was wicked? He would be considered wealthy, but he's not wicked. You say, oh, that's an invalid statement that people just like to say. It gives them comfort. So if that's the case, then Abraham was wicked, Isaac was wicked, Jacob was wicked, Lot wicked, Joseph wicked, David wicked, Saul wicked. Everybody in your Bible who got money wicked. Solomon wicked. They all got their money because they're wicked. I agree. We as people have to be more financially responsible, but I personally think things like water, electricity, and oil shouldn't really be charged for when it doesn't take too much to produce it. I'm with you on that one. I can't stand paying utilities. I think that shit should be free. And they want your money, but you have to pray for that shit. They want your money, then you got to pray for some money. And as we have been reading the Old Testament, especially in Exodus, Leviticus, and now in Numbers, we see that there is like offering after offering after offering after offering after offering after offering, and these people are constantly having to give to the Levites and to the tent of meetings. And if you're poor, they even got it. Well, you might not be able to get it, but 2 pigeons, 2 doves or 2 pigeons. Come on, do something. God dang it. You say, I thought it said you trade the shells for the items for offering, but also if there is no temple, all offerings are supposed to stop. So it would still stop. Now, good point. The Jewish people do believe that you don't have to do the offerings right now because the temple in Jerusalem is not there. But I disagree. I think that is a new age for after they were captured by the Romans kind of deal. Well, after 70 AD, because they didn't have the temple was the tent of meetings back in the day. So when it moved around, they had to give offerings. So why does the temple in Jerusalem all of a sudden matter? If that is the reason, then their God changed. Because beforehand, it was wherever the people were, they had a tent of meetings. They had a temple. But they still taking care of them temples they got now. You're supposed to seek ye first the kingdom, and then all shall be added to you. Yet I am telling you, there are devout ass poor people, and ain't shit been added to them. They still poor. They still wind up losing their house. They still wind up losing their job. They still wind up being on government assistance. Oh, I thought trade the shekels for the items. No, there are some. Okay, I know he said he corrected and said shekels instead of shells. Gotcha. Now I understand what you're saying even more so. No, there was some of them where they just straight up shekels, 5 shekels, 10 shekels, 50 shekels. It wasn't. Uh-uh. But that's a bullshit statement in the church, Nelvin, uh, because it don't work. It's like prayer. It don't work. You want to get things added to you, cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is always there. Mm. Terry, when I was going to high school, it was taught in high school, but the class after me was the last class, and they taught it in the ninth grade, which was way too early. But that was the last class to take economics and financial literacy. And it was a requirement in the ninth grade in Marietta High. And then they stopped it. The class after me, they never took it after that. I think it should be offered all the last 2 years of high school, 11th and 12th grade. There should be a financial literacy classes that you should have to take, because not everybody's going to go to college. That's the main reason why I say before college. Not allowing free energy is weak. That's what they did to Tesla. Like, what? Free energy? Oh, hell no. Right. Technically, wherever the tabernacle is, that's where the temple holds the tabernacle. So they should still be doing it. That's why when I talk to Jewish people, I'm like, nah, y'all on that bullshit. Y'all supposed to still be doing these animal sacrifices. It's just not something culturally you would do today, and that's why y'all ain't doing it. But they will then say there is a priest who would do all the sacrifice, would cover all the Israelites. That's what the Israelis are saying. Yeah, I feel you on this one, bro. I I got a degree in IT and a whole bunch of certifications and don't use it. Yep. You got a lot of Muslims who are poor because they believe that God will provide, Allah will provide, and they just is broke. Then the only time it's different is depending upon where they live. If you are in Dubai and you're a citizen, that's different. The government be hooking you up if you're a citizen in Dubai. Oh yeah, and this one, it kills me when they say it. Money isn't the root of all evil, and that's how they trick you into saying the thumb of the key. Right, and they like to say that money is the root of all evil, when it clearly says the love of money is the root of all evil. But even at that, the over loving anything is the root of evil, because you will place that thing on such a high pedestal. Uh, there's people who love food too goddamn much, to the point where they allow their love for food, their addiction for food, to wreck their lives. Or the person who is so in love with their abuser and it wrecks their lives. Kind of like the church. So in love with the church, it wrecks people's lives. Mm-hmm. Norman agrees with me. Should be taught in your junior and senior year. Because I'm telling you, I had no idea how to balance a checkbook when I graduated high school. And when I went to first go get my first place at Camp Lejeune, I went to the apartment complex. I'm thinking, hey, I got first month rent. I should go in and the electricity be on and convert it over into my name. And I get that first bill, I'm good. No, Them jokers said I had to pay first month, last month, and a security deposit. Some of them just said I got to pay first month and a security deposit. And then the power companies was like, nah, you ain't got no credit, so we need a $200 deposit. The water people, we need a $200 deposit. Gas people, we need a $200 deposit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I called my mama. Mom, all these people ask for all these money. They trying to trick me. And she was like, boy, you know you got to pay all that stuff. I was like, no, I don't know that. You never told me that I had to do all that. So I had to wait another month before I can get a place. Y'all learned about it in the 4th grade. So they taught us in the economic classes they taught us in the 9th grade at Marietta High. We did go over balancing a checkbook. We did go over macro finances and micro finances. We did the stock market. We played the stock market game. That if you win, it becomes it's a national game. But they taught it in the 9th grade. Man, when I was in the 9th grade and I was working at Cub Foods, I just spent the money. I just got my check, cashed it, and had my money. So you teach it to me. By the time I graduate high school, I don't remember what you taught me. So we did. So let me not say I was never taught how to balance a checkbook. I was taught, but 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade goes by, and you ain't even thought about that. So you forget. And see, they had me on a college prep class, so I didn't take any home economic classes. We just had that one 9th grade class. Like if I control the education of any town, city, state, we teaching economics in your junior, senior year. Technically, yes. Israelites are the people who are born in Israel. Israelis are people who adopted the Jewish religion and born outside of Israel. But not teaching financial literacy is a hurt to everybody. Okay, a lot of questions you can't seem to answer. I don't even know what questions. It started off as a chat room with only pokes. Wealth came after the modifications were made and appealed to the masses. Have you heard how many suicidal children there are because of the algorithm work in favor of the popular? Did you know Facebook wasn't a big app until the CIA gained interest? I can answer if the wealth equals wicked. Yes, it does. Okay, now nobody's ever proved the whole CIA thing towards Facebook. They were selling information and they were providing information to the government. I think that part was proven, or at least questionable. But you're still talking the suicide of other people. I don't even understand how that means Mark Zuckerberg and them came into it with wickedness in mind, and then so on and so forth. Now, I do think high school should teach trades, and that would be cool if you don't graduate until you got at least get a C. But I was just using that as one example. People ain't got to do wicked shit. It's kind of like the guy who created 7-Up. I just saw a documentary thing on him, the guy who created the drink 7-Up. He actually created multiple drinks, starting with like an orange drink, and then he finally created 7-Up. But he wasn't poisoning people. He wasn't purposely trying to go and crush people. He created a product. He maneuvered his way through the ups and downs of the cola industry. And it amazed me how some people just call competition, business competition, being evil. If I'm Coca-Cola and I see that 7-Up is one of the top 3 cola companies at a certain time frame, I'm going to make Sprite. I'm going to make a better product. And just because I made a better product doesn't make me evil. I'm going to tell my distributors, if you distribute that dude drink, then I'm taking away my distributorship from you. Most real will probably call that being evil. That's not being evil. That's called business. It's called competition. It's called free market enterprises. It's called I built my company and it got big before you built yours, and I'm going to use my power to keep my company big. And then if Facebook is so evil, why are you on it? I mean, it's a legit question. I'm not trying to be funny. But if Facebook is so wicked, why are you on it? Aren't you providing more wealth to the wicked by being on it? Yeah, see, my parents didn't teach me shit when it came to money. I'm glad yours did. So citizens of the state of Israel, the state, are not. No, they're not. I mean, before 1947, they were all, their passport said the country was called Palestine. So even the Jewish people who lived there were Palestinians. You don't see wickedness in the algorithm, guaranteeing the ignorance is seen by the masses constantly. Influencers paid to do magic tricks and scripted mischief. Influencers are paid because they have an audience, and advertisers want to advertise to that audience. So I'm sure some of you guys have noticed that you sometimes see advertisements when you're on these feeds. You're seeing them because there's over 50,000 people now. Thank you guys for the shares on Facebook, on my Facebook page. Facebook says that we recognize the value of the fact that you were able to build an audience of 50,000 people. We want to congratulate you or compensate you by advertising to those people. How is that wicked? Tell me how that's wicked. Kevin Wesley has almost 1 million people following his Facebook page. Facebook sees an opportunity for advertising. Without that advertisement, Facebook won't exist. How is that wicked? It don't make sense to me. And Kevin, yeah, they do skits sometimes. He talks about relationships. So people who are interested in that subject matter are on that page. It's not wicked. And if it is, why are you on it? I'm just saying. Why I'm on Facebook. I am the light in the darkness I go to, where truth is persecuted, and slay the lies. Supremacists wondering why I was on Gab, until I left them divided amongst themselves and suspicion of the other Nazis being fed yes. You're on it because you like. Okay. So let me ask you a question, Most Real. Another question. If you created a Facebook page and you get over 10,000 subscribers on there and you have the numbers of minutes viewed and videos viewed and all that stuff to monetize your channel, would you not monetize it? Or would you monetize it? I'm just asking. Very good one. If you watch TV as a kid and have fun, then you will get common sense tells you it's E plus R equals O. What was E plus R equal O? What was that formula again? Because I'm pretty sure you think that the television companies are wicked. But television wasn't created for your entertainment. Television was created to create ad revenue. The programs you watch are created for ad revenue. I was watching a video about He-Man. Y'all remember He-Man? I don't know if y'all remember He-Man. Do y'all remember He-Man? Y'all shouldn't. Everybody should know He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Oh yeah, event plus response / reaction equals outcome. Thank you. While I was watching that show, the documentary on He-Man, the cartoon wasn't created and then the toys came out. The cartoon was created to sell toys. So tell me, how was Mattel being wicked when they created a cartoon to sell toys so kids can have their little fantasy play? And in the story, the good guys always win. And in the story, what was that? Shit. The good guys always win. Oh, and at the end of every episode of He-Man, there's some good moral thing, like don't do drugs or don't steal or something like that. But the way a television executive who was back in the days when they created television, he said something to the effect of the program. You know how we think the commercials come in between the show, but he said no, the shows come in between the commercials, because that's what it's about. That's what television was created for. So are you saying the television companies were evil when they created that? They were just trying to sell products. When I started my cigar, did I start my cigar because I had some evil intentions? My cigar lounge? No. Or my popcorn company? Ooh, I want to sell popcorn. I want to be evil. When I started my gym, ooh, I got some evil. Okay. And I just wanted to know. He said he'd light. He wouldn't monetize darkness and suppress the light in that sense. But that is what I'm saying exactly. Why don't I have 10 subscribers? Why have they banned 4 of my pages after restrictions and shadow banning? But pedophilia is supported by this platform. Do you know that most of the time when your channels get banned on these platforms, it is not the company it's actually trolls, right? And it's a balance of trolls too. If you have more trolls than people who support your channel, they are more likely to ban your channel. That's what happened on one of my TikTok channels. I had more trolls and I believe most of it came from the trans community. because I was talking a lot about how it is unfair for these trans women to participate in the sports with regular women. And I talked about it too many times, and too many of them complained, and they completely banned that channel. It had 30,000 people following it, but they banned it. So I'm curious as to what your channels were about that got them banned. I don't think it was banned because of truth. There are conspiracy theory people out there got big ass channels. The evil happens when they push societal influences, are greedy about it, and are greedy about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think some companies are out there to take advantage of people, no doubt. But I'm not going to say every rich person got to be rich by being evil. Is it there to dumb down the people, or are you giving the people the entertainment that they desire? Right? Who's wrong? If I'm running a television network and I see that I got more viewership when this show is on compared to that show, then I'm going to promote the show that has more viewership because the people are telling me what they want to see. Like the Cosby Show had hella viewership, which is why it lasted for so long. Are you saying that was an evil, dumbed down show? Because the biggest push for people going to college was the Cosby Show, and then after that, what was the show when she went to college? That was a major change for Black people to go to college. And I think you got this too. I never question the teaching. These fools telling everyone that everything is evil are being paid to tell you so. In hopes that you become a fool and buy into this shit. And I do think that there are people out there whose sole purpose is to tell you that everything is evil, everything is evil, everything is evil. And this part right here, not many things are evil in and of itself. Everything exists on a pole. You cannot tell me where evil begins and good, where evil ends and good begins, because depending upon where you are in the pole and your perspective of it all is going to determine that. Snakes are evil. Don't mess with Jake, no shoulders. Are you talking about Jake the Snake Roberts? That was my guy, that DDT. But there's no way in hell I could wrestle with him and he pulled that damn snake out. Y'all know that secretly I wanted to be a wrestler. I actually went to school to be a wrestler when I first got stationed in Tampa. But then my unit wouldn't let me do it. I wanted to be in the WWE like a champ. They ban you for transfer, but they actually I never had any of my videos community whatever when I talked about pedos. Never had that problem. Now I will say in their algorithm it does highlight if you use certain words, so that's why you will see people they won't use certain words because they know that the algorithm will focus on those, but it doesn't focus on what you're actually talking about. It just focuses on it for the use of the word, which is so messed up. They don't have enough people to actually check the content. Mm-hmm. And what's funny to me, I can talk about them not being in the sport, but then there are many channels that are done by trans people, and they're talking about it, and they still talking about it and talking about it, and they never get banned because they got support of those people. The world is afraid of the alphabet group. They're afraid of the alphabet group. I think that's messed up. That was, man, when I first saw that video, I was cracking up. Yes, A Different World. That was the name of that show. Let me catch up a little bit. Right. The more popular the show, they do push more of an agenda. But what is the agenda? What was the agenda of The Cosby Show? What was the agenda of A Different World? Right. The agenda wasn't a negative. It was not a negative at all. I got a chance to meet him before he died. And I was like, dude, back in the day, you was my guy. You was one of my guys. See, they're not evil, because if you didn't have them, think about how many rats you have. My brother, when he bought his house a couple years ago, and he told me, man, there's a snake in my backyard. I got to go ahead and kill it with this. I was like, what kind of snake is it? And he described the snake to me. I said, don't kill that snake. That snake eats rats, and you got nothing but woods behind your house. You need to keep that snake. That snake needs to be your friend. You know, as long as he ain't coming in your house. But if he is coming in your house, guess what you got somewhere in the inside of your house? You got some freaking rats in the wall, which your house is brand new, so it shouldn't have any. But I'm just saying, they're not evil. They're nature. They're just doing what they do. But they keep rats away. Just like when I got rid of all the lizards around my house in Florida, and all of a sudden I have water bugs all in my goddamn own house. So then I had to get the bushes back so I can get the lizards back. And I actually went to other people's houses and stole their lizards and put them in the bushes around my house. Yeah, if you use certain words often, you will get flagged. They will then check and see what you're talking about to see if they need to cut your stuff off. Kids on the video. That would be funny. I haven't seen that one. Oh, sorry. The Junkyard Dog. The Junkyard Dog. I don't know if you're old enough. I don't know if you know who the Junkyard Dog is, but JYD come out there with that chain around his neck. Now he never got the big push that he should have gotten, because WWF was kind of racist back in the day, but he didn't get the push that he should have got. I think the Cosby Show was pushed because how scared America was of hip hop. But it was also pushed because Bill Cosby was loved by black folks and white folks. But black folks watched the Cosby Show like they was going to church. When the Cosby Show came on, you was watching it. And so those Nielsen ratings were coming in heavy. So you had to watch it. Yeah, JYD was a wrestler. Yeah, Junkyard Dog is a wrestler. What? I can show what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to catch your responses before you get banned for sticking a box of crayons up. What? You'll get banned for putting a catch really because it violates privacy. I don't even understand what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about by a box of crayons. I don't even know what that slang means. So you can, and what does that slang mean? Because somebody on a YouTube video said something about a box of crayons. And I was like, what the hell are they talking about? So what does that mean? But if my Facebook page hasn't got banned yet already, it ain't getting banned. That's why I always encourage people. See, the way you can beat the bans is keep encouraging your people to like your videos and share your videos. The more people like and share your videos, the less likely you are to get banned. Yeah, I'm about done with some of his. I know Kenya is like, Kenya. It's a guy and a girl. Her name was Kenya. I knew them in Germany. I've been trying to remember their god doggone name. I'm just curious as to what happened to them. So are you the Kenya that was in Germany back in like the mid-90s on Kelly Barracks? Right. And there are laws against vigilante justice, no laws against them. But you're right. There are laws against vigilante. You shouldn't have vigilante justice. I think about crayons sounds cute to narcissistic, so they use it. It's meant to call someone a child. Say it, well, Quinn. No, honestly, this is how you don't get your stuff banned. There are people who got channels that if somebody had a smaller channel saying the same thing, they would get banned because they don't have enough people sharing or liking or commenting on their videos. No, I figured it wasn't you. I figured it wasn't, but I had to try it. You think it referring to one's IQ? You saying it refers? You think it refers to money? I mean, most real, you used it, so you should know what it means. So, what does a box of crayon mean? Oh, appreciate that, Kenya. You're in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Rock Hill, South Carolina. Where in the heck is that? Because that sounds familiar. No, that's Rocky Point, is near Charlotte. Where's Rock Hill? Look, if you have a very, very, very popular channel and you're talking about controversial stuff, because you have a huge population on it, they're not gonna ban your stuff. Because I was pissed at TikTok. I was like, how in the hell am I getting banned? And I see people talking about the same shit. Okay, so Rock Hill is close to Charlotte. Okay. So they got Rock Hill and Rocky Point. Gotcha. Oh, you're saying the title of the live. Wait a minute. What was that? Thank you, Daniel. Oh, money, yes. But y'all steal money. No, because the title of it, and I learned that I had to be conscious about the titles that I put on there because you put certain titles, your shit get flagged, especially on YouTube. Like the title that I originally had yesterday for the video yesterday, which the original title wasn't that God loves women less. The original title was God hates women. But I noticed that when I did that title before, the algorithm doesn't allow it to be viewed. On TikTok, I got community violations. YouTube, they limited its monetization. So you got to be mindful of those things. That is how it works. And I would imagine their mindset is the greater good. Oh, he's talking about hate and women, so it must be bad. And advertisers aren't going to like that. So we can't advertise. So most of our advertisers aren't going to want to be associated with it. So they kick you to the curb. You know, as I've recently been coaching more people on building their social media networks, those are some of the things that you have to be mindful of. Coach, when are you going to have a retreat? We're going to have a retreat in 2024. We're going to do one in 2024. That's why I was asking you guys questions about, you know, travel, how long, in the city or outside the city, so that we can put it together. But yeah, we're going to have it in 2024. We're going to have a retreat. I don't give a shit if only 10 people show up. We're going to do this thing. Yep. And we talked about that yesterday. Trish McGinnis, this naysayer. Yeah, I know I don't, but they don't listen to the content of the video. And, you know, they don't have enough people. You know how much it would cost a company to have enough people to listen to the content? Although they can, I think with AI, if they instituted an AI algorithm, it would be able to listen to the content and be able to put it into context so they would know whether or not you're actually being negative towards women or positive towards women. Sheila said, okay, let's do it. It's going to be in the South, though. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be in the South. My first thought is that there is no should when it comes to how much money a believer has. What do you mean by should? There is no should. Oh, I said should believers. What was the title again? Let me look at the title. Hold on. Should believers of the Bible be poor or wealthy? So believers of the Bible be poor or but when you read and you look at the Bible, their belief back in the day was that your wealth was connected to your righteousness. So the more wealth you had, the more righteousness you had. And a lot of the teachings are actually, some of the teachings are wealth building teachings. The box of crayon in the ass already distracted you from the pedophilia being protected. That's the issue. See, I don't think pedophilia should be protected. If you've been listening to some of my other videos, and although we didn't get into it on here, no, I don't think they should be protected at all. I think that they should be tortured, personally, because I can't stand them. The distractions are put higher in the algorithm, the diversity, the false teachings, the lies, and all are all put high on the algorithm. This has to be disclosed in interrogations in front of Congress, Facebook, Twitter, all got caught working with the government to suppress the truth. Suppress what truth? If it's a religious truth, it's not a truth. It's a belief. And wait a minute, what did he say? The box of crayon. But you still didn't tell us what. I'm just curious as to what it means. But you don't want to answer, so it's all right. Oh, it's going to be in the South, Kenya, because one, I live in the South. Two, I live in the South. And three, I live in the South. And most of the people who watch this channel in the United States live in the South. Yeah, but I'm guessing it means low intelligence. So hence why I ignored it. I thought that's why I ignored it anyway. Mainly because people may be rich or poor when they decide to turn to serve Christ. I don't think like that's one of the ideas of the Jesus teaching of the rich young ruler, that it doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have. Uh, your righteousness, money has nothing to do with your righteousness. Yet, this Bible does teach that the more you are righteous, like somebody wrote earlier, when you seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added. Well, people have been seeking this kingdom and shit ain't been added to them. They're not getting that addition. So where is it? But if you were believing in this religion, you should be doing financially better than the people who don't believe in this religion, because your God is supposed to be providing you this abundance. So where's the abundance with all these believers? And that's the real thing. That's the real thing. Where's the abundance for all these believers, and yet they believe, and the Bible, and what do they say? Test the scriptures to know if it's real. Millions of people billions are testing this scripture, and it ain't real for them. It is not real at all. What's up? Come up north? No, not first, not in the beginning. We doing this thing on the south side. That's right. And I'm big about weather. I can't stand the cold. I ain't going up in the cold, even though it's not cold in the winter, summertime, but still. I didn't watch the oversight committee. I watched some of it, but I don't remember anything major coming down from it. I have to go back and look at it. Yeah, but how you live this life makes a huge difference as to your level of wealth and your level of poverty. Is how you're living. You ain't nobody going to Mississippi. I don't remember exactly. Where did that scripture come from? Where is that scripture at? And all these, seek the kingdom, seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things will be added. That is a good question. That's a good question. That is a good question that deserves an answer. And if my family don't stop sending all these goddamn on texts, our family holiday party is tomorrow. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these will be added to you. All right, so that is Matthew 6. Oh, shit. Oh, there you go. Appreciate that, Daniel. Do not be anxious. Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Therefore, do not be anxious, saying, what will we eat? What shall we drink? What shall we wear? For the Gentiles seek after these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. And I think it goes on to say something about a lily pad and more adorned than these things and all that sort of thing. So if you think about that, if you are seeking this kingdom, then you shouldn't be starving. You should have clothes. You should have a house. You shouldn't have to worry about finances, because he's going to add these things to you. He's going to give you all these things. there's a whole bunch of homeless Christians out there. But those are things you need money for those things, for the most part. Where energy goes, it grows. I forgot who said that. Where energy grows, it goes, it grows. Right? If you don't put energy into those things, you ain't gonna get none of it. You didn't know you was rich until somebody said it to you? Is that right, Ken? Ken, can I hold something? Can I hold something? I just playing. Appreciate you, Tres Magistus. I see most is getting it taller. Well, many people have tested dry scripture, especially ones who do have ones having to do with finances and practicality and faith. And the results were you would have to do it yourself anyway, even seeking the kingdom of God. People are still homeless, seeking the kingdom of God first. People are still starving and they're seeking the kingdom of God. Exactly. And there are people who don't seek this kingdom and they are wealthy as hell. What about all the people who are Muslims who are wealthy? The people who are Indus, and they are wealthy. The people who are atheists and they are wealthy. Yeah. And there are people who are faithful and they are actively doing it and they still broke. Because just because you pray about it and you're seeking this kingdom doesn't mean it's going to work out for you. What you do is going to matter. Oh, I can hold something. Oh, my bad. I can hold something. What do you need me to do? Put my Cash App up there? Put my Cash App? You gonna let me hold something? I was just joking, but if you want to let a brother hold something, I'll throw the Cash App up there. We didn't live. Libya and General Gaddafi plan, so wait a minute. We didn't live. Plans were the plans so were in this house and all things coming. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, Sheila. Either I'm not reading this right or something. We didn't live in Libya with General Gaddafi. Plans so were this house. Where is this house? And all these things coming. Gaddafi had a good plan. He just was the wrong person to put that plan out. Aligned to keep us in power. Yeah, it is designed to keep us in power. King said, yes, she would. Now, if it's more than 600, we can't use Cash App because then you got to report that to the government. So if it's less than 600, I throw the Cash App out there. If it's more than that, then we can do that Zelle over to the bank account. So you just let me know what I need to do. Just let me know what I need to do. We need the Zelle or we need the Cash App? Which one works for you? But don't be playing with me because I put it out there, Kenya. Don't play with my emotions. Don't play with my emotions. Where is this house we supposed to have? What house are we talking about? Are you talking about Saint? I know Sheila said something about a house as well. Because if you are following this book, if you're talking about what that scripture has said and how all these things are supposed to be added to you, then devout Christians shouldn't be homeless. They shouldn't be starving. Yeah. And sometimes, and that happens sometimes, you'll have a person can have a great plan, but it can be the wrong person to get that plan out. Had a plan in Libya. There was no homelessness. He split wealth with people, gave marriage couples homes, just no poverty. Right. And he just was, like in Dubai, one of the things that tripped me out when I went to Dubai back in 90, was that not, no, the year had clicked though. Had the year clicked though? Anyway, I was in Dubai and this couple was getting married. And I found out that the king or whatever their government was giving them, like he gives them $10,000 to buy a house or something like that. Either give them a house or gave them $10,000, or he gave them both when you got married and you were a citizen, a UAE citizen. And I'll give them that. Some churches, they do charities, they give food, and all that. That's why, let me tell you, I was telling Angelina this. I was telling her something that I noticed when I lived in downtown Atlanta. There were no starving homeless people in downtown Atlanta. Like, they're not starving, right? They know where to get the food. They know when the churches are coming down there. And I do think Atlanta did a messed up thing. There was this one spot where it was known for homeless people to come and get fed by different churches damn near every day. And the city made people stop doing that. Like, you can't do that in the city of Atlanta anymore. You can't set up a spot and give food to the homeless anymore in Atlanta. Now, I've been with an organization that we go out and we just hand out lunch, hand out food. But yeah, you can't do. I think that's messed up. But there ain't no starving people. The homeless people in Atlanta are not starving. Matter of fact, a whole bunch of them are overweight. So you got free home stuff in Libya. That is awesome. Some things can be done by smaller countries than it can be done by larger countries. I did learn that the hard way. I thought that, like, what a small country does, a larger country can do as well. They can do it. It's just, well, you know what? I'm still kind of in between on that one. I still think a large country can do it. But who knows? I had to see it done. General Q was the man, as was Sharon before Biddy had him killed. The people loved them and how they were changing the world within in order to help them in trading. Yeah. What got Q killed was trying to get Africa off of the Rothschilds banking system. That was, they wasn't going for that. Rothschild ain't going for that. They got to control money. Why they did that? Why they killed him, or why did they give all their people houses and money? For a country to survive, a country to thrive, you have to have a healthy middle class. It is not having everybody being rich, but a healthy middle class solidifies a country. And some of those countries do that to maintain that healthy middle class. Oh, wait a minute, King. You didn't answer my other questions. You doing the Zelle or we doing the Cash App? Don't pay me no mind. But yeah, so a lot of those countries, when they do that, that's why they do it. Oh, hold on. Oh no, why they stop people from giving out food? Well, at first I didn't understand why, but then in that same place, they have built new condo buildings. So that area where there was this big old homeless shelter, and the parking lot across the street from it is where they used to do it. But it's in the center. It's where Midtown and downtown meets. And probably if I had went and looked at the zoning, went to the zoning commission, I would have understood it earlier. But now in those places, they've built these condo buildings, which it would piss me off because I lived in one of the buildings that was down there a couple of blocks away, and those buildings now block the view from that building that I lived in. But anyway, besides the point. So I think they did that because Atlanta has had a huge construction boom, and there are like condo buildings going up everywhere in downtown Atlanta, as well as some new corporate buildings. So I think their goal is to push the homeless people further outside of the downtown and midtown area. And they used to be in West Midtown, but now they've made that into condos and corporate buildings. So now West Midtown is nice, where it used to just be factories and all that stuff. So I think it's just moving them around. And that was one of the ways to move them around, because the homeless people were staying near where the food was. You can still go out and, let's say you pop your trunk and you got a bunch of sack lunches. You could do that. But people would set up tables and they would have the grills and all this stuff going on. Yeah. Show them how to fish and you can feed himself forever. This is true. I will say one of the hard part about the homeless community is the overwhelming majority of them are not trying to reintegrate into corporate America. They got their own thing going. They got the whole deal. They know how to get a free phone. That's why you'll see them joking. They walking around with cell phones and everything. They know where to be. It's one little homeless spot that I always tell Angelina, those are her people. But it's a homeless spot, and there's a homeless guy, and he always had this big wagon, and he be having all the snacks, and he sell those snacks to those homeless people, and they be buying them up. It's over by Underground Atlanta, by the 5 Point Station, and they got their own hustles going. They don't want to get back in the corporate. I told you guys about the guy who was near my building and used to like help people bring their bags in from across the street, from the Publix across the street and all this. And I talked to him one time. That man told me that like within a few years, he's going to have $500K and he moving to Costa Rica. And I was like, I'll be damn. So now some of them are mentally challenged as well. So you do have those people, and that's going to be more difficult to integrate them back into civilization, into like corporate America. But gentrification is the reason. That's the main reason why they moved them. How do you know they are Christian? Everyone says that says they are one does not make them so. Everything they claim to be following. That's the thing. You can never judge any person's heart. But if you tell me that you're a Christian, if you say you believe in John 3:16, you going to church and doing all the stuff, then I'm not the one to tell you that you're not Christian. Because there are people who would tell, I don't know if you're a Christian or not, Daniel. I can make the assumption that you are because you defend Christianity, but you may be Christian. But there are other people who will tell you that you're not Christian. They will look at you and say you're not Christian. That's a huge issue within Christianity is out of the 40,000 variations of Christianity, everybody think they're the right ones, and that anybody who's outside of them is not. But according to Christianity, you should be able to tell a Christian by their acts and their deeds, because they're supposed to be these new creatures and they're supposed to act and look and be a certain way. That if you put on the armor of God in Christianity, then if you're a woman, you won't dress like this anymore or act like this anymore. If you're a Christian man, then you won't treat a woman like this or do these things anymore. But then you got that thing that Paul said, got a thorn in my side and his grace is sufficient. But then the Bible says that God will never put more on you without providing an escape for you. But are they taking the escape? Or are they just sitting in it? That Kirk Franklin song got people sitting in it. instead of recognizing that there is an escape for it. So you can't tell who's a Christian. And even the one, so even people who claim to be Christian, there are others that you're not. Grand Rising Almighty Elixir 77777 carbonated. Yeah, it's crazy how there are so many different variations of a religion that's supposed to be reading the inerrant and the inspired inerrant word of God, but yet they all got their different. There are so many different understandings of it that they don't agree. Right? How are you going to discern one Christian from the next? Folks can't even tell which Asian country one may be from. You can't. You really can. And that was to kind of push back to the subject matter. That was one of the reasons why they say your righteousness is close to your wealth. If you're righteous, then you're wealthy. That was the part of the whole problem with what was, I think, 3 people who came to visit Job, and it was like, oh, if you've lost all your wealth, if you've losing your family and you're going through all this, you must have sinned. You had to have done something for God to be punishing you this way. And Job was like, I ain't done nothing, because they attributed wealth with righteousness. When Jesus was talking to the but then Jesus kind of countermands that a little bit when he said that, okay, this boy is, I think he was blind. And he was like, whose sin caused this boy to be blind? He was like, ain't nobody's sin caused this boy to be blind. He's just blind. So there's like a different mindset. The worthless nonsense except for maybe putting boundaries, conduct, and rules on people. Yeah, it's just putting different rules. Different people have different ones. Earthly peace was God's promise in the old covenant. So what? Hell and torment in the new covenant. And why is there even a new covenant? If the God is the same always, why is there a need for a new covenant? Shouldn't be one. He's supposed to be the same God, same mentality. He's not supposed to change. Some church folks forget, if you were a European, you were considered a Christian to those who weren't. True that. What do you think is more valuable to have, silver, gold, or real estate, such as land or a home? Real estate. Although I understand gold and silver should not lose its value and is good for long term. So it depends on what you're trying to do. You can put it that way. It is easier for you to build wealth through real estate than it is for you to build it by buying silver and gold. The amount of silver and gold you're going to have to buy, and then in order to actually have value to it, you have to at some point sell it. So unless you're buying and trading it on a consistent basis, you're not building wealth. You're just holding on to something that should grow in value. But with real estate, if you're renting it, if you're flipping it, you can accumulate more wealth faster that way. It's still a marathon, but you can accumulate it faster that way. Have you read Jeremiah and Hebrews? I have. It's been a while, but yes, I have. What's your point? And morality is all that an atheist needs. That's all anybody needs is morality. What you say, Brian W? Only for his people, all others kill him and burn in the lake of torment. Yeah, but he changed his mind. He's supposed to be changing his mind. But we saw Abraham convinced him some different stuff. Moses changed his mind a couple times. How do you get protection from curses or bad luck? Strengthen your own personal will. Like, there's no such thing as bad luck. There is just bad decisions that you make, or there are decisions that other people make, and you are the effects of that decision. So strengthen your will so that you can strengthen your causation, and so that you can be the causation of everything that happens in your life, or the majority of things. Because you're not going to be the causation of everything that happens in your life unless you isolate yourself away from everybody else. But and when I say isolate, I mean truly isolate. Not know just, oh, I'm just going to stay in my little house here in Georgia and not really deal with people. Now, if you're still working a job, somebody else's will can manipulate your being on that job. So you see what I'm saying? So, but yeah, strengthen your will so that you can strengthen your causations, and other people's effect won't bother you. Kenya agrees. The land. If I'm being too personal, Kenya, how did y'all become rich? I'm just curious. What's weird about gold and silver, it derives value from the derivatives where the derivative should get its value from the actual gold and silver. They tell you not to buy gold and silver while they do. Yeah, they do tell you that, but you got to be able to buy it in large enough quantity in order for it to truly have wealth for you. To me, gold and silver is that retirement kind of thing, and I'm gonna cash it all in when, in 30 years. Whereas if I'm buying land and I'm utilizing that land to earn money immediately, then that's different. That's building. You can build the wealth through the land to buy you some retirement gold and silver, but I would still put more focus on land than gold and silver. I mean, I have a cousin, and she's part of some group. I told her, if I'm talking about money, I wouldn't. She can come on here and talk about the gold and silver thing, but she don't like being on video. But that's her thing. She buys gold and silver, primarily gold. Her husband, he buys land. So in the long run, they're going to have a good combination. But his land, the one thing I keep telling her, the land is going to create more income than the gold and silver. And I don't pay attention to that market enough to know if it's overpriced, because I'm more interested in land than I'm interested in gold and silver. That's why I frustrate the hell out of her, because I'm like, just not my thing that I'm interested in. Well, I'm interested in this and land. That's where my interest lies. But as non-Christians, as most of us on here are, I'm saying you should be financially stable. You should be using your talents to increase your finances. I don't know if Dwayne Howard is still on here, but that was one of the conversations that he and I had when we was in Wilmington. Was the fact of, with his talents as a carpenter, how he can utilize those talents to increase his financial portfolio. Because it's great for us to open our minds and learn true history and archaeology and spirituality, but we need to make some money. So you should know that the Old Covenant was not something that could last forever, because there was a constant need to make sacrifices for sin. Whereas the new covenant, Jesus' single sacrifice is sufficient to pay off for all the sins of whoever who trusts and serve him. I don't understand it in the way that you do, because I accept it for what it says. In the Old Testament, as we've been reading through Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and no, we haven't got to Deuteronomy yet. Leviticus, Exodus, and Numbers, your God of this book says that these animal sacrifices for sin are a perpetual thing through the line of Aaron and the Levites. It is supposed to be perpetual for all generations. The Jesus character doesn't absolve you for your daily sins. The Jesus character is more in the line of Hebrew, whereas at the end of days, at the end, when you're standing in judgment, then whatever sins you could not give sacrifices for during your lifetime, you can then at that time frame have Jesus take on your sins. But he's not supposed to be taking, you're not supposed to ignore all those sins right now. You're supposed to be atoning. And then you wake up today. Yeah, you have a little sin. You're like, I'm gonna atone later on when I get off work. But then you die in a car wreck. Well, Jesus is there to take care of what you didn't atone for that day. But this coverall that they use for Jesus is really more, it has become a thing of a scapegoat. It's become a thing that culture has said that you're not going to be doing all these sacrifices and all the damn time. So no, I think Christians read that wrong and don't understand that in the way that it was meant, and they do so because of culture. The culture has changed. I didn't become rich. My value of wealth is my loved ones and how we treat people. We have always had food, clothes, and roof. So to me, I'm rich. Okay, I see what you're saying. Dang. I was ready to put my cash app on now. No, actually, I was asking because if you like, it was through land or something like that, then seeing if there was, well, if you had some information that would be beneficial to some of the people here. Plus, we need to understand how each one of us can invest in ourselves as well as different things in order to increase the amount of cash flow that we have coming in. You can't come to the retreat if you ain't got no money. Because it's going to cost. You got to get plane tickets. You got to get a place to stay, eat, and all that stuff, transportation. Men place value where they wish to see gain. Exactly. If you want your value, if you want, God damn it. If you want the value cause, want your value causes harm. If what you value causes harm to animals, others may not value it as you may, unless that suffering leads to a profit for them. Then they may turn their heads and hold out their hands. And I agree with you on that one. Okay, hold on now. You want a barbecue company? So next time I go see my goddaughter, we're gonna have to stop in she didn't say Rocky Point, and wherever you live. So is it a restaurant? Is it a restaurant? Because we'll highlight that, and just spiritual and physical wealth should grow hand in hand, and it should. There's no reason why, no matter what spirituality pathway you choose, you should not become financially wealthy as well. Really? Is that what you're doing? Froze with my mouth open. You trying to start some stuff, Terrence. But I agree. I'm just throwing y'all stuff up here and don't even know what y'all said. What do you think is more important to have at hand? Ability to defend yourself, weapons, or basic necessities of life? A combination. I understand what you're saying, which one's more important. It's relative to the situation, but you need the basic necessity of life more so than you need the ability to defend yourself on a daily basis. But if some shit go down, you need to have weapons. So Like we have a balance. Yeah, and this is why they don't like people being atheists, because if everybody turned atheist, the church would lose all its power, and to a certain extent, governments will start to lose a lot of its power as well. Yes, you do. That's not what I meant. What's the name of the She make a barbecue sauce with mustard base. Yeah, of course it's mustard base. You Carolina. What's the name of it? What's the link? Where post the link. Post the link. And I'll post it on here so people can see it. Right. They had to perpetually make their use right. With Jesus, we confess our sins and forgiveness. And okay. Let me ask you a question. In Islam, nobody had to die for Allah to forgive them of their sins. They don't have to sacrifice animals either. Allah just forgives because he just forgives. Why do you have to have a human sacrifice for forgiveness? You see that, you know what I'm saying? If he's this guy, why can't he just forgive? Why does he need a human sacrifice, a blood sacrifice to forgive? To me, that's sickening, to have to need a blood sacrifice in order for this deity to forgive somebody. You're supposed to be the all-powerful God. You're supposed to know the heart of every man. You're supposed to know every hair on a man's head. You're supposed to know the beginning to the end. Why do you need a human sacrifice for forgiveness? It's just a continuation of a culturally based thing that moved from animal sacrifice, where it moved from animal and baby sacrifice to just animal sacrifice to now just to back to a human sacrifice. And then you're going to sacrifice yourself for the sins that you initially created, because you created evil. Why do you need that? Just forgive people. If you know my heart, if you know that I got on here and I cuss Brian W. out, and then I feel bad for cussing out Brian W. And I repent and I ask for his forgiveness and I forgive myself and all this kind of stuff. Why can't you just forgive me? No, the stock market, well, some aspect of the stock market is good for a sign of a good economy. Some of it is not. The stock market is a game. It's a game that I don't like playing. Yeah. And I'm with Brian, I'm with you on that one. The means to protect yourself is a necessity of life just as much as food and shelter. Because run up in this house if you want to. See what happens. Well, the jihadist is not an actual part. Everybody doesn't have to be a jihadist. That's only in certain time frames that happens, and that doesn't include everybody. But basically, all you have to just be is obedient to Allah's commands, and He will just forgive you. Now, I'm not saying Islam is perfect by any means. I'm just saying it doesn't require some sacrifice. So let me be clear. Nah, they got their rituals and they got their bullshit, but I'm just saying they don't need it. Oh, I'm gonna have a reason to cut you out this summer when I come to Washington State to see my son. And if we don't link up, yeah, I'm gonna cuss you out. I sure am. So this is Kenya's Amsterdam Lutely barbecue sauce. What's the link though? How can they get it? Is that a .com? Can people order it? So before I put it out there like that, can people order it and be shipped to them, or is it like I don't know what stage of this you're in? So if people can order it and you're already shipping, or do they have to come to North Carolina, South Carolina, and like buy it? Is it in stores, certain stores? Like how can people get it? Yeah, and I'm with you, Almighty. A lot of the ancient religions, all of them require these all different types of sacrifices and blood sacrifices. And I think those are ridiculous. They do absolutely nothing. There was no need for sacrifice with the Aztecs, the Mayans, no need for it with the Hebrews, the Israelites, the Ephah. I don't think there's a need for any type of blood sacrifice. I don't even think there's a need for grain and drink sacrifices. If you believe in a deity, I would never believe in a deity that requires me to kill another animal or to give it some type of food. I don't like the stock market because I don't control the company. You're betting on what a company is going to do. Right? Now, if you know there's a merger coming here or something, a new product and all that, and you got that track on it, sure. But you're still betting on what a company is going to do and what the population's response to that company, to what they do. It's too many variables that I can't control. If I was in the stock market, I would go to jail because I would be inside trading like a champ. That's why I'm not in the stock market. I'll just tell you right now. Because I would not put my money on something unless I had some inside information. That's why I don't gamble. In the effect, I mean, I gamble, I play, like I go to the stock, I go to the craps table. But there's a system that I use for the craps table. But like on sporting events, I ain't betting on a sporting event. Nope. The penalty of sin is death. That's just because your Bible says so. That's no proof of that. Everybody's going to die of this body. If God just forgives, then there is no justice. God satisfied justice by allowing the mercy of us. That's cruel, man. That's what I'm saying. That's cruel. If he knows your heart, then he knows whether or not you are truly repentant. If I wreck somebody's car, but then I don't provide transportation for them, and I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, God, please forgive me for wrecking their car. Now I know they can't get around. I haven't repented for shit. But if I wreck somebody's car, which this did happen, I wrecked this man's car, and then I gave them my car until they were able to get another car, and I went carless, for like 8 months. That's repentance. I just shouldn't need to sacrifice no blood, no animals, nothing like that. I sacrificed my ability to get around because I messed up their stuff. So all that human sacrifice is a waste. That's some old cultural bullshit to me. And one reason why I can't be a part of that religion. Right. Like Terrence said, it's primitive. Very primitive. Okay, it's a home-based company. We just got started, still in the first stages. Okay. Well, you got to let us know when people are able to buy it so that we can put it out there. Yeah. Queens, I see. So guilt, shame, regret is not enough. The God characters need to add on death to it. All right, that is not justice. That is what this book tells you, and that is part of the. And I'm not trying to be derogatory towards Daniel, but that is part of the slave mentality of that book. Is that you still would, in today's world, you would still believe that some blood sacrifice matters. I don't know. There are people who don't go to jail, but I'm just saying, I just don't play with it. I gotta control it. Right. Jeffrey Dahmer, he claimed to have repented and believe in Jesus and all that. So I guess he's gonna be in heaven with Daniel. I would not want to be in a place where that dude is forgiven for what he did, and he never paid. I mean, well, he went to jail, so that's supposed to be paying penance to society, but nah. You can't just, oh, I made a mistake because I got caught. If Jeffrey Dahmer had never gotten caught, his ass still be out there doing what he's doing, what he did. Oh, here go the cop out, y'all. Well, when you make a world and the beings, you can decide what is worth to dishonor you. That is such. God made everybody so he can do what he wanted to do with them. I made my daughters and my son, but I can't go and do whatever I want with them. They have agency, and I respect their agency. So no, that's a bullshit excuse. I'm not even going for that. What'd you say, Brian W? Are you gonna die? If you ask God, will you die? What do you think God's gonna say to you if there is a God that would answer? I don't know. This stuff is crazy. It's crazy to me. You got to make money though. So we're gonna get ready to get off for today. King is going to. Man, let me see. Y'all be trying to sneak stuff in right before I get off. How do I feel about the Anunnaki? This is my theory. This is my thought process on the Anunnaki. I think that the Anunnaki was a pre-Younger Dryas civilization, a bunch of Earthlings who were of a higher technology than the majority of the world at the time. They were surviving the Ice Age at a higher clip than many people around the world at the time frame. But then when the Younger Dryas flood happened, a few of them survived. And for the ones that survived, they then went and tricked these people, these hominids who did, the humans who were still around and survived, tricked them into thinking that they were gods. I don't think they're from another planet. I think they were just already here and they've been here for like hundreds of thousands of years and probably were a different species. Well, I agree that they were a different species than what we are originally, and then they integrated with our species to a certain degree, experimentations, that sort of thing, and they made them think that they were gods because their species lived longer than ours. Yeah. But I think they are just beings. I don't think they were something special. Yep. About to get off here, but I appreciate everybody. You know what? Let me go. There you go. There y'all go. Go hit that Cash App up. Go knock that out. If it posts up. Since we're going to build some wealth, go hit that up. We're going to be like the church. Except I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with it. It ain't going to charity. That Cash App is not going to charity. Unlike the church, I ain't going to lie to y'all. It's not going to charity. It's going to go to something else, but it ain't going to charity. But I do want y'all to go and get this one. Let me post this one too. I do want y'all to read this book, that is The Richest Man in Babylon. It's an easy read. It's a small book, but it has some great lessons as far as building wealth. I have probably read The Richest Man in Babylon about 30, 40 times. It's a great book to read. After y'all read that book, I got another wealth book that I want y'all to read. Y'all probably heard of it too. That's one thing that makes me mad about the collection of books that I lost, is that a lot of them were wealth building books. But that one, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, there's some other. Read this one first because it's a simple read. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is about, like yay thick. This book is about that thick, but Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is about that thick. Those two combined together, some good shit. It's some good stuff. Because we should all be doing better financially, every year. You should grow in your finances. You got to have discipline, but every year you should. And that's my expectation for all of y'all, is for you to grow financially. Because then when these retreats get bigger and we're doing more things, I don't want to hear no bullshit about you ain't got no money to come and all that. That's bullshit excuse. All right? That's the bullshit excuse. This is where I'll be just as hard on the women as I am on the dudes. When we have these meetups and events, your ass needs to be there. Right? And money, it shouldn't be a problem. So if you are following the concepts of this book and other books that I'm going to talk about, then you should have the money to do it. And then when we start talking about buying tax lien properties, I don't want to hear no bullshit. You should be able to do it. When we talk about building a family bank, getting that started, I don't want to hear no bullshit. You should be able to do it. It's all cause and effect. That's why I already told you, read the Kabbalion, Outwitting the Devil, Richest Man in Babylon. We're going to get to the Millionaire Mindset, some other books too. I don't want to hear no bullshit. And then when you come, be like, well, I haven't had time. I don't want to hear that bullshit. I ain't that kind of teacher where I listen to the bullshit. So, and that's where we're going to end it. So y'all have a great day. And remember, always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.